Ecobank saying that Honeywell Flour Mills is heavily indebted to it and they're in the courts. Is that going to halt this transaction? The enterprise value, of course, you use enterprise value as a metric to value a company that's about to be taken over. Enterprise value for Honeywell Flour Mills apparently is about 80 billion naira. Flour Mills of Nigeria is saying that combined forces, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with as far as flour milling is concerned. However, could the debts that the Ecobank says is owed to them from Honeywell Flour Mills, could that halt the transaction? All right, let's try this again. Mr. Johnson Chukwu, CEO, Cowry Asset Management. All right, can you hear me, sir? Go right ahead.
Yes, I can hear you. Apologies for that technical hitch. What I was saying earlier, which unfortunately couldn't come across, is that clearly, if depending on the nature of the loan agreement between Ecobank and Honeywell, if Ecobank has an all-asset debenture on Honeywell, then there is no way you can sell Honeywell without Ecobank's consent, because Ecobank becomes the primary claimant to the assets of Honeywell. As it stands today, having indicated, notified the flour mill of its interest in Honeywell. Having notified the Ecobank, having notified flour mills of Nigeria of its interest in Honeywell flour mills, then flour mills have a duty. They've been put on notice. They have a duty to investigate the nature of the loan agreement and see if Ecobank has prior claim or prior charge over the assets of Honeywell. If that's the case, then the interest of Ecobank must be fully accommodated before a measure of this nature can be allowed to go through.
Thank you, sir. What about the impact of this on investor sentiment? We saw the Honeywell Flour Mills there, after 2 days of gains, is now on the loser side on the exchange. What do you make of it as far as investor sentiment?
Yes, the basic thing is that investors are conscious of the fact that, look, should this Ecobank's claim frustrate the merger, that the prospects of Honeywell will be very weakened. As it stands today, Honeywell has already exposed itself that it wants to be sold or is willing to give up its life to be part of flour mills of Nigeria. So if for any reason this transaction does not go through, investors are going to dump the shares of Honeywell. Again, the investors who were taking positions in Honeywell, believing that after acquiring about 75% of Honeywell, then that flour mills may want to go for 100% ownership of Honeywell, and that they're going to sell, given that the transaction is seen to be coming at a huge premium. Then the market price is trying to correct upwards to the level that the transaction is to be executed. And that's one of the reasons why we saw the price rallies in Honeywell. But if for any reason we now suspect that the transaction will not go through, or there's apprehension that the transaction may not even go through, then the market will correct back to where it was, given that the rallies were based on the fact that prices were supposed to adjust upwards to be in tandem with the offer price or the transaction price for the merger arrangement.
Thank you, sir. I want to switch gears to the latest World Bank reports, Nigerian Development Update. We had 2 representatives from the World Bank on the show yesterday. The removal of subsidies and this possible 5,000 naira cushion for transport allowance if subsidies removed. What do you make of it all?
Well, in the first place, many of us have cried ourselves hawks on the issue of subsidy on petroleum products. We have kept emphasizing that it's not profitable to the society, it's not profitable to Nigerians, and it is stymieing our economic development. So coming from IMF and World Bank, it simply added some level of verve to the comments many of us have been making. The only issue that is now new is the government proposal to pay 5,000 naira monthly to about 40 million Nigerians. And that will almost translate to the amount that we're taking out as subsidy. The GMD of NNPC had said that we're paying 130 naira on 60 million liters. And if you multiply that for 30 days, you get about 234 million naira. So 234 billion. So if we are taking out 234 billion monthly and we're replacing 200 billion monthly, we've not achieved anything. The purpose of freeing up resources to invest in critical sectors of the economy will be defeated. And that's the concern some of us are expressing. The government must come up with something that will have impactful, a big impact on the economy, that will be impactful in terms of improving our competitiveness as a nation. It's not handout that will solve the problem. Granted, a lot of people are going to go through severe difficulties if the subsidy is taken out, but if you replace it with some palliatives as handout on a going concern basis, you're not going to solve any problem. If you are saying you're going to give them 5,000 for the first 6 months, and we can understand that, and then subsequently you free up the resources to build infrastructure that will make it easy for them to commute from one place to another at lower cost, that will you provide better power supply by strengthening the national grid or building a stronger national grid that will make it easy to wheel out power generation and improve power supply, that you're going to invest on deep sea ports, standard gauge rails, and you're going to invest more on quality education, quality healthcare, so Nigerians will live better standard of living than just giving them handouts that is just similar to saying, we'll give you fish to eat, but we'll not teach you how to fish. Nigerians need to be employed. For Nigerians to get jobs, we need to have an economy that is competitive, that can produce goods at efficient and competitive costs, so that companies can come here and set up manufacturing businesses because we have supporting infrastructure.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. CEO of Cowry Asset Management, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your insight.